Welcome to the University of the Free State.
Wa amohela ho University of the Free State.
Welkom by die Universiteit van die Vrystaat.
Siyakwamukela eNyuvesi yase-Free State.
Situated in the heart of South Africa, my university is a creation of the past, the present, and the future. Across our 3 campuses, 7 faculties have been home to some of the most magnificent minds. Everything we do is rooted in our values of excellence, innovation and impact, accountability, care, social justice, and sustainability. We have been changing the world for more than a century. We continue to pave the way and inspire a fresh stream of knowledge and skill to follow in the footsteps of our scholars and alumni. We hunger for knowledge that will help us to be better and to do better. Our facilities encourage excellence, pulling us towards the light of new insight and ways of applying what we know. We lead by example, advocating sustainability in everything that we do. While we are making a current impact, we are also steering towards the future with the knowledge and skills we need to take the lead. The next years will be especially significant in our growth as our Vision 130 unfolds, which will peak in 2034 when the University of the Free State celebrates 130 years of existence. Vision 130 is our strategic intent to reposition the university for 2034. Join us on this journey. Together, we will go further.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. We still have 5 minutes left. I will be 5 minutes left. Welcome to everyone. I hope all of you signed in. You got your name tags. Very important that you keep your name tags. And then we will start on the hour. I believe in scientific management. Frederick Winslow Taylor would call this Taylorism. So I will set my clock and I hope that we will complete the program on time or as scheduled, not a second later. Professor Sivia has just asked me, why don't we have a tall MC? I told him, if I were taller, the program will be longer. Right. So the shorter I am, the shorter the program. Right. And we have short conversations. Thank you. We'll start in the next 4 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's 2 o'clock, exactly 2 o'clock, and we're going to commence with the program. Once again, I would like to welcome all of you to this program. My name is Ambrose Duplessis, for those who don't know me, but I go by many other names as well: Pedro, Manuel, Carlos, hablar español, sí, muy bien, gracias. And I have a name, Lirato. So I have many names, but it makes it interesting, right? So they never know really who you are. Sometimes my wife calls me, and I don't respond because she used the wrong name. Oh, at home I'm Daddy. Yeah, I'm Daddy at home as well. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, it's just a privilege and an honor, to be your facilitator today for the Faculty of Economic and Management Sciences to celebrate this beautiful day, which is our Research Day. On behalf of the faculty, I extend a warm welcome to all of you, all the guests, academics, researchers, students, partners, and I want to extend a welcoming of those that joins us online as well, because we have postgraduate students on the online platform as well. It's inspiring to see our community connected across spaces, united by a shared passion for research, discovery, as well as innovation. This event has been made possible through the leadership of the Deanery, and I want us to give a round of applause to the Deanery for leading us, right? And I will have a special acknowledgement for Professor Nene, our Vice Dean Research, whose vision and dedication have guided the organization of this day, especially making this platform, displaying our research on this particular platform. We also celebrate the diverse contributions across our Faculty of Economic and Management Sciences, which is our UFS Business School, Industrial Psychology, Economics and Finance, Public Administration and Management, the School of Accountancy, and the Center for Development Support. All a big round of applause to all those departments that make this event possible. And then, ladies and gentlemen, I have a few logistical arrangements before we commence officially with the program. All of you know, if you walk straight, there's the bathrooms. All guests, are required. You see the name tags that we currently have. We believe in being responsible citizens, reduce, reuse, and recycle. So please, after the event today, can you please just return these name tags? Don't worry, we will not sell it. And if we sell it, I don't think we're going to get much. But nonetheless, please return these name tags so we can distribute it again tomorrow. I think that's very important as well. And then we are going to have an interactive participation session. This event is all about sharing ideas, including yours. And for that, ladies and gentlemen, especially those joining us online, please drop your thoughts, questions, and comments in the chat box next to the stream. You'll see on the different screens, we will have a ticker. I just learned for the first time today what is a ticker, so I don't know what's the ticker. Apparently, you can participate on the ticker. There's a number here in the room. Those sitting here can, for example, communicate on WhatsApp, send WhatsApp messages. If you can take out the pen, I just want to read the number for you, if you can participate. It's 083 744 2232. The number again, 083 744 2232. So our team, will monitor both channels, and I assume the two channels, we have a YouTube channel and we have a WhatsApp platform as well. And I think our teams will monitor these. And very importantly, ladies and gentlemen, it's important that we are compliant with the POPI Act, Protection of Personal Information Act. We're fully compliant, and we hope that you can participate. So let us take a moment to appreciate the collective effort that has gone into bringing together this day of knowledge sharing and discovery. And that's what it's all about. We need to share knowledge, and we need to discover together. In the famous word, and I'd like to quote Einstein, Albert Einstein once said, "The more I learn, the more I realize how much I don't know." This reminds us that research is about curiosity, collaboration, and the continuous pursuit of understanding. And I think that's very important in terms of this particular event. And now, ladies and gentlemen, as I indicated, I'm quite strict in terms of managing our time now that we have done all the logistical arrangements. We're going to now display, some showcasing segments with regards to, first, we will share a short video highlighting our success in 2024, because that really paved the way for what we try to do at these Research Day events, celebrating the milestones that laid the foundation for our current achievement. And then we're going to have, a second segment, which following that we will showcase the exciting events and activities for 2025. So almost, going back into time and getting back to the present, and hopefully with our research today, we will leap into the future. And I will ask our team now to just display the segments. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
So today, as the Faculty of Economic and Management Sciences, we've come together to celebrate our first Research Day under the theme Research for Societal Impact. So this event clearly aligns with the UFS Vision 130 that places priority on excellence, visibility, societal impact, and social justice. So the aim of this Research Day is to showcase the research that is being conducted within the Faculty of Economic and Management Sciences. We need to begin asking ourselves, when we think about research for societal impact, how does our research improve lives? How does it address issues around unemployment, inequality, poverty? How does it foster innovation in a way that empowers the most vulnerable in the society? So this day has brought together a diverse group of stakeholders, and they include the academia, the industry experts, and the students. So this has provided a platform for them to showcase your research excellence, showcase their research findings, but also to foster collaborations between the industry and the academics.
Days of this nature are extremely relevant for the context they provide. For a faculty like EMS, having an inaugural research day of this nature provides a very unique platform for different faculties, different colleagues within the department, engaging with our stakeholders, engaging with industry partners to really showcase what we are all about as a faculty.
I would like to congratulate the Faculty of Economic and Management Sciences on this inaugural Research Day. It has been absolutely fantastic to hear not just from the School of Accountancy, but from all the other departments and schools within the Economic and Management Science faculty. It's been eye-opening, it's been riveting, and I'm really excited to have been invited today to join the show.
This is a day that brings academics and practitioners together. This is a day where practitioners alike come and interact with the work that the university is doing from an academic point of view. But then from a practical point of view, some of the recommendations that really come out of this research assist practitioners to make sure that they infuse their work, even from a planning perspective as well as implementation, with the findings that academics are making. Hence, I think days like this Research Day are very important, not only in the calendar of the academics, but also in the calendar of the practitioners, because from a government perspective, including some of the private corporations, this is the time to relook at their strategies. So some of the findings that are coming through can help quite a lot to be infused within their strategies.
This Research Day is very important because we as academics have the responsibility to showcase the knowledge that we are generating through our research to the communities out there. What's also important is this creates a platform where we actually connect not only with society outside there and also with private and public sectors, but also with academics amongst ourselves. Many times we're operating too much in silos, and coming from a talent management background where my research interest is, we need to start working interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary in order to get solutions that can take our societies forward and make a real concrete impact out there.
Today in society, things are ever changing and moving towards a more industrialized sense, towards the fourth industrial revolution. When we look at the way that society is and the way that there are progressive strategies in place, there's need for research in order to make sure that we stay relevant in today's society. So with days like this, where research can be presented to stakeholders and to different academics, it's a good base in order to present that research in the best way we can.
A day like this is very relevant because it gives us the opportunity as researchers to take a step back and take stock of the work we do and how impactful it can be. And it gives us the opportunity to connect with key stakeholders like government, like civil society, to know whether the work we do is important and how we can improve on the societal relevance of our work.
Days like these are relevant because they foster relationships, cooperation and collaboration between the different researchers in different departments within the faculty, but not just within the department or the faculty as a whole, but between the staff members, researchers, and the students, and also stakeholders who have been invited. So we're able to then foster new collaborations for research that can actually enhance the research capacity of the faculty as a whole.
My experience in this event from the word go was that of enthusiasm about learning. All the colleagues that spoke with me so far don't only want to hear from me, but also want to explain to me what research they are doing. And that's something that you don't find easily. Usually academics are more reserved and shy, but in this specific day, you can feel the passion for making an impact through our research.
My experience has been phenomenal. Touching base with industry has been great, and hearing what they need and hearing their experiences, and also hearing from fellow academics and fellow departments within the faculty has been great to see what my colleagues are doing. So I'm very excited about this event, and I look forward to ones in the future.
Research is really important, not just to academia, but to society as a whole. I think it's really important that the topic of today's research day is around what societal impact research has. And I'm finding that particularly relevant. Good to see what everybody is sharing, but also what impact it's having, and that's really what matters most.
My day has been brilliant. My experience being at this research day has been not only fascinating because I was presenting my own work, but I've also been able to get feedback that can be meaningful for my research going forward.
Looking forward to the insights, to the discussions, and the opportunities that is going to emerge from this day.
My experience has been second to none. I have thoroughly enjoyed the proceedings of the day. As a presenter myself during the event, it really gave me a platform to expose what I do with different partners, different colleagues, different departments, and I think I can't wait for what's coming next.
My experience has been very fantastic. I've been exposed to wonderful work that colleagues do in different spheres across the faculty, work that are very, very important, and research that actually has the potential to significantly contribute to our economy in many diverse ways. So today has been a very wonderful day, and I look forward to future iterations of a day like this.
Colleagues and partners, we can all agree that the faculty is doing excellent work. And this, when we reflect and we see all the achievements that the faculty has achieved, it doesn't come easy, And it reminds me of the famous statement that was once said by Aristotle, who said, the purpose of the state is not merely to make life possible, but to make life good. And that's the purpose of research as well. It's not merely, for us chasing the numbers, but it's ultimately about having that social impact that will change the life of society, that will change the trajectory of where South Africa will go and where all of us need to go in doing our research, that it means something for someone. I just saw the timer, just showed me a timekeeping. I told him I'm the captain of the ship. The program director can direct the program. So ladies and gentlemen, before our next speaker comes to the podium, I just would like to take the time to introduce our dean. He said, I just asked him, I said, Prof, I cannot just say the dean is the next speaker. It doesn't work that way. We do it properly. Remember, we're in economic and management sciences. Cannot just say the dean come and speak. But nonetheless, it's a great honor and a privilege to introduce the dean of the Faculty of Economic and Management Sciences, Professor Burger. A brief bio, and I asked for that. I said, Professor Burger is a professor of Economic and Management Sciences at the University of the Free State, a non-resident senior research fellow at the United Nations University World Institute for Development Economics Research, where he leads the macro-fiscal work stream for South Africa towards inclusive economic development, phase 2. He was a 2016-2017 Fulbright Exchange Scholar at the Center for Sustainable Development at the Earth Institute, Columbia University, and has been a visiting scholar at the International Monetary Fund and seconded to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Professor Burger began his academic career in 1995 and became a professor in 2007. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Professor Philippe Burger, who will share his words of wisdom and inspiration with us. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Yes. When Ambrose this morning said he needs a bio, I said, well, Dean, it's just one word. But he insisted. Colleagues, it's the year 2014, and this faculty produces 39 research outputs. It's the year 2018, this faculty produces 64 research outputs. It's the year 2020, very tumultuous year, 72 outputs. Last year, 99. So from 2014, that's a 254% growth. Since 2020, a 37% growth. So for that, and we all know that the staff numbers didn't really grow in that same proportion. So colleagues, for that, give yourself a So in that sense, it's a great privilege for me to assist here, and my thanks to Nene and her team, Igna, Penrose, KG, to you guys for putting these 2 days together. I really look forward to what we will see. It looks very promising. I've seen all the students who are going to present this afternoon and tomorrow. We're going to see some of the staff and some of the external people we link up with to listen to them. So it's going to be an amazing couple of days. But I think the one thing that brings us all together is curiosity. And you've heard me talk about that in the past. It's that heartbeat of our research. It's the thing that really keeps us going, that drives us to ask questions. And whether that is to data, to our corporate research, policy research, market research, whatever. Now, you know, Albert Einstein once said in his very last interview that he gave to Life magazine in 1955, it was actually published after his death. He said, the important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existence. One cannot help but be in awe when he contemplates the mysteries of eternity, of life, of marvelous structure of reality. It is enough if one tries merely to comprehend a little of this mystery every day. Never lose a holy curiosity. And as I said, this was published after his death, so he really maintained this to the very, very end. So in the economic and management sciences, curiosity, of course, is just as essential. We deal with the real world out there. We have to dirty our hands in that world, and it is how we understand what moves businesses, what moves economies, what moves people. In the end, that is what we do. All our journeys, each and every one of us, started as a student. And, you know, I had a supervisor for my PhD, one of my two supervisors, Christopher Tor, and he always said, well, you know, a master's degree is when you master the literature, you've mastered the techniques, you have mastered framing the problems and proposing solutions. So it is sort of a passage into this world of scholarship. But it's not where it ends. The next thing that we do is, of course, a PhD. And that is where we start really making a contribution. But of course, a PhD in itself is not a Nobel Prize. Okay? There's only been a few researchers in this world who, with their PhD work, got the Nobel Prize. But a PhD is something else. A PhD is a license to operate. It is a driver's license for the roads of scholarship. And you learn to navigate all of this complexity, or to dig up and search for what would be the truth, to make your contribution and to drive conversations. Because in the end, that is what we do. We are conversing. If we do so with our students, we call it teaching. If we do so with our peers, we call it research. When we do so with the community or with government or with companies, we call it engaged scholarship. But all of that at the core is a search and is a conversation. Now, of course, we start as students, but we never really stop being students, because even if you are a professor, you continue to learn. And here, I think, Marie Curie, the big scientist, she wrote a letter to her brother in 1894, in which she wrote to him, "One never notices what has been done. One can only see what remains to be done." And I think that is true for all of us. Looking forward, to be proactive, forward-thinking, and to think innovative as to where we are going. And as professors, those of you who are professor, and Arno, you are now the newest member to that cohort. Congratulations. We must remember the root of our title, and that is to profess. Okay? So what is it that you are professing? What is it that you're talking about? What are you sharing? What are you declaring to the world that you know? And professing is not just about teaching. It is about engaging in public scholarship. We need to be seen. We need to be vocal. And I think research is a noun. It's not a noun, a verb. It's not just a noun, it's a verb. It's something we do. If you are a student, you are researching. If you are an academic, you are researching. You're not just an academic, you are academicking. Okay? You're doing this thing of being an academic. You're academicking every day that you are here. You're practicing that scholarship. Of course, research is not a scholarly thing. You can't just do this in the corner office or in the basement. It is a conversation, as I mentioned, between scholars, between students and academics. It is between universities and industries. It's between researchers and communities, between us and policymakers. It is truth-seeking. Now, Michel Foucault, the philosopher, he once said, knowledge is not for knowing. Knowledge is for cutting. Yes, knowledge is not for knowing. Knowledge is for cutting. So Foucault rejected this idea that knowledge just exists to accumulate this heap of knowledge, and we just keep on, throwing a bucket of knowledge with our stuff onto it. To him, it was more than that. He saw knowledge as something, as an instrument, a tool of analysis, of critique, of transformation. Knowledge is cutting because it dissects assumptions. That is what it does. It analyzes what we thought was truth. And maybe it is, but maybe it's not. So knowledge in that sense is disruptive. It's not just, I have this technique, I have some data, I throw the technique at the data and I make a conclusion. No. We need to think more deeply. We need to disrupt. That is really what we need to do. We need to ruffle the feathers. Yes, that's why we talk about academic freedom as so important. So nobody must be able to tell us what we must say. So it is about understanding, it is about planning, it's about recommendations to ensure a better life. So our research must not only speak to the problems of 2025, but also anticipate the challenges of 2035 and 45. I said to some of the HODs, so next year we are going to have a look at the BCom, specifically the management BComs, BCom HR, BCom business management, marketing, and those. So here we are today. The students we train today will enter middle management by 2035 and senior management by 2045. What is that world going to look like? Because they will need to solve the problems of that world. And how will we learn about that? Well, through our research. So as Peter Drucker, as the guys in management will know, the big management guru said, the best way to predict the future is to create it. So we're not just solving puzzles, we are designing that future. And we do so proudly as academics, because you see, research is not just a job, it is a career. And I've told this story before, but in the middle 2000s, as an economist, I visited Cambridge to have a look at where John Maynard Keynes, the father of macroeconomics, where he taught. And we had a colleague from the Judges Institute at Cambridge University, and he accompanied us to King's College in Cambridge. And we got there at about 4:10. And they have this big medieval gate, and they locked the door. And there we thought we will not be able to go in. And Jochen went up to the lady with this medieval key. This key is this huge key. And she looked at him, and he said to her, "Madam, I'm a member of this institution. May we pass?" You see? He didn't tell her, "I work here, can we go in?" No. He said, "I'm a member of this institution, may we pass?" Upon which she replied, "If you put it like that, sir, who am I to refuse?" So, in that sense, what we do is not just a job. It's not just a case of we work here. It is something that we do every single day. It's what helps to define us. Not the only thing, of course, that defines us, but it's the one thing that defines us. So I want to say, and I want to finish up, because there is a program director who directs the program. Whether you are just starting on this journey as a student, and I'm really looking forward to those presentations this afternoon, or whether you've done this for decades. Yes, last week I was also in this hall, and that was to to get something to say that I have been around for 3 decades. So remember, curiosity is our compass, conversation is our vehicle, and scholarship, that's our destination. So upward and onward. Thanks, colleagues.
Thank you very much, Prof. Can we give him another round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen? Prof, interestingly, I like what you said. I take it in my stride that you said, no, I'm a program director, chairman of the board. But interestingly, what you noticed was what you said is that the PhD gives you a license. So I booked my wife off. I gave her a medical certificate. So I'm using my license as you rightfully indicated. But nonetheless, as you indicated, thank you for sharing that words of wisdoms. Wisdom, that research is never complete, it's infinite. One can argue that we should always think about research, as you rightfully indicated, in terms of the Sustainable Development Goals, what will be left for future generations? What will be left for our great-great-great-grandchildren? What legacy do we leave behind, if we use this knowledge, not merely to solve problems, but long-term problems? And we really have to engage with these philosophical constructs, and we need to disrupt, and that's important in terms of knowledge. So thank you, Prof, for those inspiring words and for your leadership in guiding our faculty towards continued excellence in research and innovation. And that's very important that we comply with this. Ladies and gentlemen, you will notice, and I think that's one of the issues on your table if you want to see how the program is going. I think it's going very well, but nonetheless, you can time me as well. There's a QR code on the table. You can scan the QR code and you will have the program on your phone as well. But nonetheless, we're going into the next presenter. The following topic, bones of brilliance, the structure behind academic excellence. Oh, I sound like a pastor, ladies and gentlemen. But nonetheless, our next session gives recognition to an essential part of our academic ecosystem. Our dedicated support staff, and we cannot ignore support staff, they play a very important role. As we like to say, support staff are the lifeblood of any organizations. Organizations die without support staff. The dedication, coordination, and expertise keeps the heart of operations beating. So they are our medical doctors. They come up with the diagnosis and make those lovely prognoses, enabling excellence at every level. We are delighted to welcome Ms. Simone Williams, the Faculty Manager for the Faculty of Economic and Management Sciences. She leads the professional and support staff portfolio that keeps teaching, learning, and research operations running smoothly, overseeing academic administration, governance processes, and student-centered services. Known for a collaborative, solution-focused approach, Ms. Simone partners with departments to streamline workflows. And it's very important to get the faculty running across the faculty. This Research Day, she represents the professional support of the staff of our community, highlighting their pivotal role in enabling scholarly excellence and providing an outstanding experience for academics and students. Simone is extremely student-centered. So please join me in welcoming Simone Williams. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon, colleagues. I almost didn't recognize who the PD was talking about, but here I am. So today I will be telling a very short story. So I would want you to please engage. I will not take much of your time. Behind every great research story, there is a backbone. Today I speak on behalf of that structure, the quiet force that holds it all together. Meet the bones of excellence.
Introducing the structure behind academic excellence. Every piece is essential. These are the bones of brilliance. Professor EMS and her brilliant student have a eureka moment. A spark is lit and their high-stakes research adventure is go. First things first, the student gets registered with academic advice, then zooms to the EMS bursary committee for crucial funding. Online registration checked. Now the departmental research committee approves the big idea. On to the next stage. Title approval. The Research and Higher Degree Committee stamps it approved. That's a huge win for the team. The Vital Ethics Committee review. Both supervisor and student must get clearance before they can proceed. Prof. EMS needs funding. A quick application on RIMS and central research funding is approved, thanks to the gears turning behind the scenes. Success. International conference acceptance. Admin staff books the flights, finance approves the budget, and away they go. The legacy is set. NRF rating for the supervisor, and the student graduates with a medal. Support staff cheers from the sidelines. Behind every academic success story is a network of brilliance, our indispensable support staff.
And that is our story.
You know, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, Mr. Mine, for all the hard work you've been doing and for clocking it. I've learned a new word. Clocking it. But now what you've done, you actually made a problem with the program. Because I was on time. My time was dead on. 14:40 when you stand on the podium. Program was running flawlessly. But now the program director must now have an engagement session, and we must now cross-examine you, ask additional questions to make up for the lost time. But you said it's an interactive session, you know, and I think this day is also a very important platform for support staff to play a more important, integral role, not only in the back scenes or the backstage, but maybe you can also advise us, you know, and I think I will take a couple of questions from the audience for Mrs. Simone Williams to respond, maybe a comment, because now we have to make up for lost time. Otherwise, you know, otherwise the program will finish too quickly and the people will go for tea and there's no tea. I don't think the restaurant is ready for any tea. But on a serious note, Mr. Mine, can you maybe take a couple of questions from the floor and allow us to engage, because you said it's going to be an engaging session. And I see there's a question already. I'm going to take the first question. There's roaming mics as well. That's the nice thing about program director. You change the rules as you go. Can we have another question for Simone with regards to presentation? Maybe she can give us greater insights in terms of the role a support staff can play in research. Another hand? It can be a comment as well.
Program director?
Yes, Ms. Mine.
As I just want to mention that I have my team here, and as a manager, must allow for the ones beneath you to also grow. So Igna will assist me in answering all these very important questions.
You know, that's the art of delegation. The art of delegation. So at least there's two people that can respond to the question. Program director allows that. Prof, you can continue with your question.
Thank you, and thank you so much, Simone, for your presentation. And thank you to all the support staff who often go unrecognized as the bones, as you said in your presentation. You painted a picture where things go according to plan, like an ideal case scenario. And we know that that's not the way things tend to go. I suppose my question is, how do you maintain grace in the face of adversity or when things go wrong?
Thank you for that very difficult exam question. Okay, so in our office, we understand that we're working with humans and different spaces within the university, and we are aware that things might fall through the cracks. That's why in our planning, we will always have a plan A, plan B, plan C, but it's also very important for us is to build relations. So most of the time when things go wrong, we would have somebody to reach out to assist us in fast-tracking something that fell through the cracks, either by ourselves or by somebody else. So it's building relationships and just understanding and making people understand that we are a collective and we have a common goal.
Thank you very much for that lovely question. I was still thinking about my question immediately when you talk about relationships. Igna, you wanted to respond to that as well? I saw you took the mic. No, but can I ask you a question as the program director, maybe looking at what is, because Prof. Burger said we need to be forward looking, right? We need to have some form of vision where we see ourselves. So where do you see, support staff in terms of their future contributions to research and contributing and actually also utilizing these platforms and presenting?
So as you know, we are a faculty that promotes the academic project. A lot of our colleagues are studying. We have a typical example of Mary who moved from the sports space to the academic space, and the faculty allows for such growth. So it's not just in being academe in order for you to contribute academically, but even in our thought process and our engagements. So my plea would be for the departments to also allow their support staff to contribute. Because remember, we are looking with a different lens at all of these issues that might be on the table. And what I've learned as a manager is that the more, the merrier, because you have a different lens looking at a different thing. And that normally leads to a very big end product.
Wow, that's a beautiful answer. I can just say in Spanish, en palabras, which means speechless. Go Google it, I might be wrong. But nonetheless, thank you, Simone. I don't think there's any other questions. It means I would like to take this opportunity as well, and I like what you just said, that it's the role, of manager to let those underneath you grow, right? And it's a classical Chinese saying of Deng, let 1,000 blossoms bloom. And when 1,000 blossoms bloom, it becomes really beautiful. Because you uplift, you developed others beneath you. I think that's very important, and that's the legacy one wants to leave with support staff, to see that there's other avenues that one can pursue as well, which makes it very important. So I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you for that insightful and engaging presentation of bones. I don't know how the pirate supporters feels that watch those bones running around. Normally their bones can't run around, they just stand in one static position. But the bones are, but I still think that you are the lifeblood. I will remain with my, initial analogy. It reminds us that behind every success story is a structure of commitment, collaboration, and care. And I think these are three important pillars. If one looks at the role that one needs to play, that you need to have some form of commitment. In public policy, we talk about the 7 C's. We add additional stuff. Not only commitment, we look at contents, we look at contact, we look at, for example, capacity and all these other things that's very important that we build. But collaboration in building these relations are very important. But more importantly, I think it's the human element. The caring aspect, because that's what we said. We want to be a university that cares. We care how we treat our students. We care how we treat one another as colleagues. And I think that's very important. And that makes academic excellence possible. And I really want to thank you for all your hard work and commitment. Ladies and gentlemen, can we just give Simone a last round of applause before we go to the next session? Like Frederick Winslow Taylor, I'm better than Frederick Winslow Taylor. We finish exactly 5 minutes before the time. I can squeeze in another minute, and then we dead on with the program. So we will now take a tea break between 14:55 to 15:15. As outlined in the program, ladies and gentlemen, can you all please be back 3:15? So that's 15:15, all of us, so that the next facilitator can run the program on schedule. Please, and I hope there's refreshments, and please use the time. And I think this is a very important time for us as colleagues to network with colleagues and fellow attendees, that we just engage collaboratively and just continue with that collaborative nature. And a gentle reminder that, again, ladies and gentlemen, the name tags, just there's a basket, and you will get it again tomorrow, but you'll hand it in. If you hand it back in, we will invite you again next year. No, that's... We will keep your name. We keep it safe, we just want to recycle it, but we don't also want to waste. So please return all these name tags. And thank you very much for this wonderful session, ladies and gentlemen. And we can now take a tea break. Enjoy your tea. Thank you.
You have. Good afternoon, colleagues. Good afternoon. I think we should please settle down for our second session, our student session to begin soon. I don't know if we could get our colleagues who are still at tea to please come in. Okay, good afternoon, colleagues, distinguished guests, and our students. Welcome to the second session, which is the student session. The challenge I have, I was telling Ambrose at tea that the challenge I have is when I saw the program and I have to facilitate this session after him, it's always a problem because, trying to keep up to the whatever your facilitation, your session to the standard of the height that he has maintained is quite always very problematic, for me. So, but all the same, we will try with this session. So, welcome once more. And today we are here to celebrate our students and the research that our students have done in the faculty. So research is not only about discovering answers, and it is also about nurturing the confidence to explore the unknown, to challenge assumptions, and to propose new ways of thinking. So our student presenters have taken that bold step today, and they have engaged in literature, they have collected their data, they have analyzed it, and they have translated their findings into insightful academic work, hopefully. And today is an opportunity for us to listen, for us to encourage and affirm their efforts. And so that's why we are here. So on that note, let me just give a few rules concerning the presentation. So students, you've got 3 minutes each presenter, and a 2 minutes rollover, which we will have for the next slide to be uploading. So at the corner, we've got Dr. Laurie, who is the timekeeper. When you have 2 minutes remaining, he will put up 2 minutes, for you. And when time is over, then he would put up the red one for you. So for the rest of us, let us listen with openness. Let's engage with questions that build rather than break, and that's going to be after each session. The students will be outside by their posters to take any questions that we have, and let's also give them feedback that will also help them to strengthen their work. So without much ado, and because of our time, we are going to start with the first presenter. So here, for one of us, like we said, is 3 minutes. This actually reminds me, when the faculty sent out the call for 3 minutes thesis, I know some of us decided not to do it. But here we all are as students. Now you're forced to do your 3 minutes thesis. Yeah, whether you like it or not. So we're first starting with the School of Accountancy presenter, Dr. Sean Watson. Sean? And so Sean will be presenting to us Correcting the Past, Shaping the Future, Financial Statements and the Path to Sustainable Investments. So, please, Sean.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I don't know if it's a curse or a blessing going first, but here I am. Okay, so financial statements play a critical role in capital markets by providing information to both investors and other stakeholders. The problem is, however, that financial statements often contain errors that need to be corrected through a process known as the retrospective restatement of annual financial statements. While the literature suggests that the capital market responds very negatively to restatements, there are in fact multiple reasons. The clicker's not working. There are in fact multiple reasons why JSE-listed companies may be restating their annual financial statements, and that not all of these are the result of fraudulent financial reporting. There we go. And that not all of these are the result of fraudulent financial reporting. So the question is thus whether the JSE as a capital market actually discerns between these various restatement or restatement categories. In examining the market response to these, the study adopted an event study methodology, which specifically examined the short-term share price reaction to each restatement category. The window period was a 41-day window period, being 20 days before the announcement, day 0, the day of the announcement, and 20 days afterwards. The abnormal negative share price reactions were modeled by means of a market model and a market-adjusted return model, and tested for significance by applying parametric and non-parametric significance tests. With regards to the medium to long-term period, a buy and hold abnormal return model was used to model share price reactions over 252 trading days, effectively a year. The model also explicitly excludes market-wide effects. The results do suggest that the JSE does appear to differentiate between the various restatement categories, and that restatements due to errors being caught out or investigated by the JSE, the FRIP, Financial Reporting Investigation Panel, as well as the, slightly to a lesser degree, the adoption of changes in accounting policy do result in negative share price reactions. It is, however, noted that when companies restate due to a new accounting standard, no significant negative share price reactions were found in either the short or the medium to long-term period. It is thus concluded that the JSE does exhibit, or appears to exhibit, varying degrees of market efficiency, and that certain restatements do have a negative impact over both the short and medium to long-term period. Thank you. Do I make like Elvis and leave the building, or do I? Thank you very much.
Thank you for that 3 minutes presentation, Dr. Watson. Yes, so we continue again with the School of Accountancy, and we will be asking Mr. S. Mills. And he would be presenting to us proposed exit tax on retirement funds. Please, colleagues, as you listen, please note that we are awarding prizes for the best presentations, but voting only begins tomorrow. I think the QR codes should be on the table. So, please, Mr. Mills.
Good afternoon. My research examines the proposed exit tax on retirement funds, a measure that's designed to stop South Africa from potentially losing its taxing right when an individual immigrates before retirement funds. South Africa follows an exempt tax retirement taxation system, under which contributions to retirement funds are allowed a deduction, therefore exempt from tax. The growth on the retirement funds are not taxed. The only element that is taxed is the benefits that is received by the individual from the retirement fund. When someone immigrates before retirement, South Africa risks losing their taxing rights under double tax agreements which are concluded between South Africa and the other country. To close the gap, National Treasury proposed introducing an exit tax on these retirement funds. So the objective of this study was to critically analyze the potential tax treatment of the exit tax on retirement funds, and this was done by looking at the current tax treatment versus the proposed tax treatment, and it also drew lessons from the United States of America's treatment, as well as the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development's Model Tax Convention. The methodology followed was a qualitative, doctrinal, and comparative legal research. So currently, South Africa has no exit tax. So if in the case that the individual immigrates before retirement, South Africa potentially loses the taxing rights, so they're unable to tax it. Under the proposed exit tax, there will be a deemed withdrawal by the individual when they are ceasing their tax residence, and this will be taxed at the withdrawal rate, which is a slightly higher rate than had that individual waited for retirement in South Africa. The payment of this tax, however, is deferred until the individual actually receives their benefit from the fund. So the following issues, amongst others, was identified is that there's a risk of double taxation, there's a potential double tax agreement overrides. And then looking at the USA as an example, in the USA, the exit tax on retirement funds only applies to high wealth individuals, and their tax treaties entered with other countries preserves this taxing right. The OECD, on the other hand, allows for both source as well as resident taxing right. In conclusion, so the idea behind the exit tax was sound, protecting the fiscus and reclaiming taxation that was previously deferred. But without treaty alignment and safeguards, it risks doing more harm than good. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Everybody's keeping it short and very sweet. So it's moving. So our third presenter is from Business Management. Presenter is Ms. M. Motabe with the title Customer Satisfaction and Loyalty in the South African Grocery Retail Industry, a Store Environment and Cognition Context. You ready?
Good afternoon. So the retail industry has gained prominence due to its ability to generate revenue in South Africa. Therefore, it has attracted competition of global nature, such as Massmart, putting pressure on local counterparts like Pick n Pay and Spar. They have reported closures, and these closures have far-reaching consequences that might lead to poverty and increased crime rates. It is therefore important for managers in the retail industry to take this as a matter of importance and deal with it immediately. Authors in the retail industry, they encourage customer satisfaction and customer loyalty as means of getting and gaining a competitive edge. Literature does argue that there is a linear relationship between store environment, customer satisfaction, and customer loyalty. However, the importance of need for cognition is not explained. Need for cognition is important in this relationship because it explains how and why customers engage with store environment. The aim of this study is to investigate the mediation effect of need for cognition on the relationship between store environment, customer satisfaction, and customer loyalty. The theoretical framework, the model that will be used is the SRR model to give theoretical grounding for store environment, need for cognition, customer service, and customer loyalty. Here's the proposed conceptual framework. This is the hypothesis development. The research approach, it will be a quantitative, positive, deductive approach with 290 participants who have shopped at these grocery stores that have reported closure in the past 24 months. It will be a non-probability convenience sampling. The data will be collected using questionnaires. The measurement scale will be the 5-point Likert scale, and data will be analyzed through the SEM Smart PLS4. This study aims to contribute to the body of knowledge by introducing need for cognition as a mediator. It is also to help managers in the retail industry to create store environments that are suitable for people with different cognitive levels. It is also for them to create marketing strategies that are also categorizing customers into different cognitive levels and to help the retail industry in South Africa to gain competitive advantage. Thank you.
Thank you. So our next presenter is from business management, also Kelly van Rooyen, and the title is The Influence of Entrepreneurial Orientation and Resilience on SME Performance. Now you're going to go. I think I need to.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's an unfortunate reality that our country's economy is not up to scratch. Allow me to shock you with the following statistic. Did you know that 75% of South African SMEs closed down within their first 1 to 5 years of operation? Now, SMEs are supposed to be the backbone of our economy, but most of them are failing. Curious to why this is, I started asking people, why do you think that small businesses fail? And you'll be surprised to know that almost every single person gave me an answer relating to the external environment. So some people said it's due to government policy, others said it's due to lack of access to finance or regulatory compliance. Now, yes, these are very real issues. But the problem is we already knew that. Because of this, my question started changing and I started asking, could businesses be failing due to something internal? And could it be because of the entrepreneurs themselves that don't know how to overcome challenges? And this leads me to the title of my presentation today, Build to Bounce Back. I wanted to understand whether South African SMEs aren't just failing due to tough external conditions, but also because the entrepreneurs themselves don't know how to bounce back from facing adversity. Now, this is exactly what entrepreneurial resilience is. It's the ability to adapt and overcome in the face of adversity. But here's the thing, entrepreneurial resilience doesn't just come out of nowhere. It is shaped by something called entrepreneurial orientation, which is basically the mindset and the behaviors of an entrepreneur. Now, specifically in my study, entrepreneurial orientation is made up of 4 dimensions. It's innovativeness, proactiveness, risk-taking, and competitive aggressiveness. So now that I have framed my problem, how did we get to some answers? Okay, so we surveyed around 387 SME owners or managers who either owned or managed a business in the Free State or Northern Cape provinces. Side note, we chose these 2 provinces because they are the 2 lowest contributors to national GDP. Each of the respondents were given a choice to either respond through a paper-based questionnaire or an online e-survey. Thereafter, we statistically analyzed the data, and this is what we found. From the 4 entrepreneurial orientation dimensions, it was only proactiveness which amplified entrepreneurial resilience, and this could lead to better SME performance. So what does this mean? It means that if an individual is proactive, they become resilient, and this could lead to better SME performance. Now, my study highlights that while we cannot necessarily change external environments, we can strengthen the entrepreneurial mindset, and in doing so, give South African SMEs a better chance to survive. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kaylee. Okay, I just thought enough vitality points for the day, going up and down. So let me just rather stand here. And we'll be taking our next presentation from the Center for Development Support from Mr. T. Modlegelwa, Studentification in Bloemfontein and Kwakwa towards a human development approach.
I'm sure most of you have wondered why, how the University of the Free State looked like over a century ago. Well, as it's highlighted on my slides, The University of the Free State was established in 1904 with approximately 6 students. And today, the University of the Free State house accommodates about 40,000 plus students. And unfortunately, the available on-campus accommodation at the University of the Free State across all campuses can only accommodate about 4,000 students, meaning there's about 35 students who have to go and seek alternative off-campus accommodation off-campus. And this has actually, created a studentification phenomena because of the influx and occupation of students in neighborhoods that are in close proximity, to university. And also because of the changing and recommodification of single-family household into student commons and purpose-built student accommodation. And when I talk about purpose-built student accommodation, I'm actually talking about student accommodation like your campus key and your unilofts. Then in order for me, to investigate this studentification phenomena, I actually followed a qualitative research method where I interviewed about 24 students across 2 campuses, Kwakwa and Bloemfontein, and I also interviewed a variety of important stakeholders, such as landlords, ward councillors, landlords, and ward councillors and residents. And the aim of this interview was to gain an in-depth understanding of the challenges and the perspective of studentification in those particular contexts. And the study, found that, studentification in Kwakwa, it unfolds in rural housing environments such as RDP houses, backyards, and unaccredited, communes. And what is also important is that the social relations, I'm talking about the conflict between the residents and the students, normally occurs, or is normally shaped by tribalism and cultural identity, because most of the students who are actually studying in Kwakwa are from neighboring provinces such as KwaZulu-Natal and Mpumalanga. And what is also interesting, in Bloemfontein, most of the students are staying in mostly accredited student accommodation, and tensions between the students and the residents is actually shaped, by noise, littering, and the negative perception that the neighbors have, the residents have about the students, that the students come into this area, to create and deteriorate the neighborhood. And I actually recommend that we must actually do away with a uniform accreditation system or framework and introduce an accreditation system, that can differentiate between a rural and urban context. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. Really quite interesting research happening in the faculty, isn't it? And to think we can get all that information in 3 minutes. So we move on to our next presenter, still from the Center for Development Support, Mr. K. Chatindiara. Okay. Okay, so his title is Mining, Development and Social Disruption in Non-Metropolitan Districts in South Africa.
Good afternoon. The events of August 2012, where 34 mining employees were shot by the police in Marikana, still haunt every one of us. This is a typical example of social unrest that happens in mining regions in our country, in South Africa. The social disruption theory states that social disruption increases as mining activity increases as well. The objective of our study is to test that a particular theory or assumptions of the linearity between mining activity and disruption. How did we do that? The methodology is that we divided the country into 5 mining regions. We excluded the metropolitan areas, and we used the gross value added by mining to the total GVA of that particular country, of that particular region. In doing so, we created 5 categories of mining regions, starting from very low to very high. Our results show that there's nuanced, in fact, you get nuanced results in that contradicting the social development theory, we see that actually mining adds into the economic activity of those areas and reduces the disruption. The second thing that we observed was that there is less cohesion in mining areas because of the heterogeneity of the residents of that area, because of in-migration and all the other social ills. The last point that we had was that we developed an SDI, which is the Social Development Index. And that Social Development Index also showed that the non-linearity assumption that we have between mining activity and disruption does not hold. Further on, we do recommend that policy that are recommended based on the social disruption theory must then be revisited because we have got a policy miss in the end. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And we move on quickly to our next presenter from the business school, Mr. Kozwayo, with the title Accelerating SMME Growth, Revolutionizing SEFA Financing Access in South Africa's ZF Makau District in the Northern Cape.
Thank you very much. The introduction and background, development finance institutions are gaining renewed global recognition for their role in economic development. That's according to OECD. So what we are looking at is the Small Enterprise Finance Agency as a catalyst, as a development finance agency that would stimulate SME growth within a minute area called the ZF Mgau region in the Northern Cape, which is very rural. So with limited access to formal credit, it forces SMEs to rely on personal savings, certain growth, and then stringent collateral requirements also, and information asymmetry, and inefficiencies in information that are shared by the Small Enterprise Finance Agency. So this is also a challenge that is faced by SMEs in the ZF Mgau district in the Northern Cape. So this study examines how to accelerate SME growth and how to access SEFA funding in that particular area in the Northern Cape. So the primary objective of this research was to study the acceleration of SME growth by improving SME access to finance through SEFA in the ZF Mgau district in the Northern Cape. And then with the secondary objectives listed, we wanted to check the instruments that SMEs use in terms of financing access, as well as then what the research questions were based on. The methodology, we used a qualitative exploratory case study method. Our data collection was semi-structured interviews. In the semi-structured interviews, we interviewed 12 SME owners and either an owner or a manager of the SME, and then 2 SME experts / consultants, people that do development of SMEs in that area. And then we use thematic analysis using Atlas TI software to collate and identify key patterns and themes in the research. Our results, key insights that we found from SMEs and the experts: application challenges, cumbersome, complex application forms, lack of internet access and network coverage in those rural areas. And then the other result that we found was process inefficiencies, extremely low processing and disbursement times. That's internally from SEFA, where they take up to 6 months and up to a year to disburse funds, and as well as their laborious processes. And then we also looked at the SMEs' internal strategies, how they then lack business management skills and how they capacitate themselves in ensuring that they do apply for funding, but their funding applications are mostly rejected because they don't know how to access this funding because they are not experienced in that. And then the recommended interventions was to make awareness sessions for these SEFA different products in the area of ZF Mgau in the Northern Cape. And then the alignment with financial theories. The capital structure theory, you will see there's the Medogliani and Miller MM where no taxes and costs are incurred by these MSMEs. And then the trade-off theory, where an SME will look at debt versus equity, whether they trade that off, whether I will go for a debt / equity from my own pocket. And then you also look at the pecking order theory, whether you'll use your internal funds. The conclusion, the study identified critical financial challenges, specifically limited access to finance, poor capital structure, decisions, and weak financial management capabilities as major hindrances to the SMEs in that area. And then through the theoretical insight, while capital structure theories provide a framework, they must be adapted to the South African SME market. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sinra, you are up next with the title Beyond the Books, Exploring the Well-Being Support Needs of MBA Students.
Well-being in higher education is not just an ethical concern, but is critical for academic success and personal development. Yet, across the globe, we are witnessing a rise in mental health challenges within the higher education students, which increased 14%. And so why MBA students? They face a triad of pressures, namely full-time work, family responsibility, and academic pressures. The expectation to lead under pressure often results in reduced help-seeking behavior, and critically so, most well-being services are still designed for the traditional full-time students, which leaves the working professionals underserved. And so in terms of the aim of the study, it was to identify the well-being needs of MBA students using an interpretivist phenomenological approach. 14 in-depth interviews were conducted with MBA students aged 25 to 54 years, representing diverse entrepreneurial and managerial backgrounds. And so the data was also thematically analyzed using the NVivo 14, ensuring ethical rigor as well as saturation at interview 14. In terms of the findings, there's 4 central themes that emerged, namely current well-being, demands, which speaks to competing academic, professional, as well as family pressures dominating our daily life. Next is support, and the other 4th theme was needs, where there's a strong call for tailored, responsive well-being services and mentorship embedded within the MBA journey. These findings confirm the JDR model in terms of excessive job and study demands without sufficient resources harms well-being. And next, in terms of the social exchange theory, further underscores that supportive institutional relationships are critical for success. In terms of recommendations to address the gap, 4 actionable interventions are proposed. First being, expand counseling services co-designed with the business school. Secondly, structured mentorship program, leveraging alumni and peers, comprehensive orientation for students as well as families, setting realistic expectations. And the last one there is to strengthen peer networks. Collectively, these initiatives align with UN SDG 3, which is good health and well-being. In closing, supporting the well-being of MBA students is not an optional add-on, but it is an investment in leadership excellence. By rethinking traditional support models, business school can enhance performance, retention, and competitive advantage, building leaders who not only succeed, but thrive. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to believe you have your questions. I have questions also, so please note those questions. The students would be by their posters after the presentations where you can engage further with them. So moving on, we have our next presenter from Economics and Finance, Ms. V. Olofsie. Should we trust AI to detect social issues, a machine learning approach? Sure. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. so I have a question for you guys. Who uses social media in here? You can raise your hand. I think that's about everyone, right? So the title of my research is, should we trust AI to detect social stress? And this is in terms of recalibrating the social stress indicator, giving it different weights. Okay, so looking at the social stress indicator, so why is this research important, okay? Most of you raised your hand in here, you are using social media, okay? So we would like to understand, how does social media impact you, okay? And since there's an exponential growth in social media, I mean, everyone is using it, okay? So while there's misinformation and hate speech detection, there's unfortunately not a tool to measure the potential harm that a post may give to you, okay? So think of it like this. When you are posting something on your status on WhatsApp or even on Instagram, okay? Let's not even think about misinformation. Let's just say you want to say something, I had a horrible day at work, okay? How do you know this is not going to impact you? So we want to measure the social discomfort. Okay, so how do we measure social stress, okay? So we want to build a composite indicator, and it's derived from natural language processing. So there's three key components. So it's sentiment analysis. So it understands the emotional tone of a text, so either positive, negative, or neutral. Topic modeling, it addresses the different topics that a document can address. And then information-seeking behavior is the information-seeking behavior of people at a specific location with different trends, right? So initially, my supervisor, Dr. Combrink, created the social stress indicator, and it's specifically with equal weightings. So what did we do to improve this research? We used different weighting system, and we used principal component analysis to get this weighting. Okay, so the key results which we found was that principal component analysis effectively determined weights, okay? Then you'll see in the blue graph, there's the different weightings. Then while we compared this equally adjusted weighting with the new weighting, we found that social stress is a bit higher with the adjusted weighting, but the trends still follow the same. So it just shows us that the stress is just a bit more amplified, but it follows the trends. So as you can see in the graph, the red one is the adjusted one, so it's just a little bit higher. So the findings demonstrate that there's a strong potential to use the social stress indicator for infodemic management and harm detection within high-frequency social media data, and it provides a scalable tool to context-aware to understand the digital public health, okay? And then in the next round of our future, we will be using machine learning to understand whether a machine learning model can actually use what the social scientist added to the social stress post and understand whether we can use a machine learning model to help social scientists to handle this extreme increase in social media usage. Thank you.
Thank you very much and well done. I think we are keeping well with time. So we have a little edit to the program. So our 10th presentation is actually Pilokazi. Okay, good. So the title is Retrieval Augmented. Well, that's what I have for mapping HPV vaccine infodemic in South Africa.
Okay, my research focus is on how to develop a retrieval augmented generation for mapping HPV infodemics in South Africa. So you might be asking yourself, why HPV? So the public relevance for HPV is that HPV is a major cause for cervical cancer, especially in South Africa, with women between the ages of 15 to 45. And we have found that there's been incidences here in South Africa of low HPV vaccine uptake, especially during the COVID-19. For example, in 2020, there was only 3% of eligible girls that got the vaccine for HPV. So again, why focus on infodemics is because, like my colleague just said, a lot of people use social media, and within social media, there's a lot of conflicting and misleading information across different platforms. So what is the aim of my research? The aim of my research is to use a RAG-based large language model to map out misinformation and knowledge gaps within HPV literature in South Africa. So the question here we want to ask and answer is, can a RAG model effectively map out HPV discourses in South Africa across social media? So we'll use posts that people post related to HPV vaccines, as well as how they interact with campaigns that are posted by the National Department of Health with relation to HPV. And then we'll use scientific articles, any information related to HPV, and then we'll use health barometers. The National Department of Health, every year, they have a report that they give out with relations to how campaigns did. So we'll also use that information for the RAG model. Okay, so the theoretical lens for this study is going to be behavioral change theories. And we'll use the behavioral change theories just to understand the health-seeking behaviors of people with HPV. And we'll use the health belief model and the theory of planned behavior. So this will help us understand the psychological and social drivers of HPV and vaccine hesitancy. So why do people not want to get vaccinated? And then the impact that we hope this study is going to have is to help us identify misinformation patterns and the knowledge gaps within HPV literature in South Africa, based on what the scientific literature is saying, as well as the public discourse that is happening on social media. Is there similarity or disalignment there? And then we want to improve health communication strategies and then support evidence-based interventions to boost vaccine uptake for HPV. And then lastly, with this RAG model, we hope that it will provide solutions to scale and manage misinformation related to HPV. Thank you. And if you want to hear more, please go to my poster because of time.
Thank you. So we move on to the Department of Industrial Psychology, and we invite Mr. Sibeko to the stage to present his research titled The Role of Psychological Capital in the Relationship Between Techno-Stress and Work-Family Conflict Among Higher Education Employees. I'm interested in this one because I did fill your questionnaire, so let's hear it.
Okay, greetings. I'm Tobisa Sibego, and I conducted a study that shows me that having a positive mindset might possibly be the answer to work overload and conflicting work and family demands. So the clash between work and family demands is noted as work-family conflict, which is a construct that happens when work requires more time and effort, thus depleting these resources for use in family responsibilities. Now, techno-stress intensifies this clash by allowing employees to be more engaged with their work, even outside of working hours, through techno-overload and invasion. Now, thinking about this in the context of higher education, I wanted to understand what is it that enables workers to cope with these imbalances in the time that is spent at work and the time that is spent using in family responsibilities. And that is when I considered psychological capital as a personal resource that might possibly help with managing this imbalance. Right, so this was a quantitative study that focused on work-family conflict, techno-stress, and psychological capital as well. The data was gathered using the data gathering tools that are on your screen, and then they were also analyzed using the Friedman's two-way ANOVA, the Pearson's correlation, as well as the Heyman's process macro. Now, the results show that as techno-stress increases, work-family conflict increases as well, with techno-overload noted as the major contributor. Now, this comes at no surprise in the context of higher education, because when you look into the student-lecturer ratio, you see that we have one lecturer that is looking after so many students, hundreds of students. So now, hence, we explain the overload being one of the main contributors. And then if you look at this further, you see that psychological capital reduces the manner in which people experience techno-stress, thus reducing or buffering the effect that it has on work-family conflict. I will be outside with my poster if you need more information. Thank you.
Thank you. Interesting results. No lies detected there. So now we're still with the Department of Industrial Psychology. Mr. M. Pretorius, presenting Investigating the Drivers of Teacher Passion, a Person-Environment Fit Perspective in South Africa.
Good morning, everyone. Around the world, teachers are leaving the profession, not because they lack the ability, but because they no longer feel connected to the work. Teaching can be inherently meaningful, yet many teachers struggle to sustain their motivation and passion. My study set out to understand why this happens. What keeps teachers truly engaged and passionate about their work? I explored this through a person-environment fit theory, which suggests that people are most motivated when there's congruence between their values, beliefs, and interests, and what the work environment provides in obstacle demands and rewards. I examined how 3 job characteristics, autonomy, meaningfulness, and feedback, influence teachers' experience of self-efficacy, strength usage, and person-job fit, and how all these variables then impact harmonious passion. My study surveyed 249 teachers in the Free State using validated questionnaires and structural equation modeling to test these relationships. Key findings. Firstly, autonomy predicted self-efficacy and person-job fit, and indirectly predicted harmonious passion. This suggests that autonomy fuels passion by helping teachers feel competent and aligned to their roles. Second, surprisingly, feedback had no relationship with any of the variables. The reason why we believe this is that in teaching, feedback is very structured, more about compliance and administrative, ticking the box, but not really about growth and development. And this takes the motivational power of feedback away. Then also, meaningfulness stood out as a key inner motivator of passion. It enhanced both self-efficacy and strength usage, but only harmonious passion indirectly through strength usage. In other words, finding teaching only meaningful doesn't really create harmonious passion. You actually have to do something. You actually have to use your strengths. Otherwise, it's just an idea, it's an abstract perception, but you actually have to do something to feel that harmonious passion. For example, when teachers use their personal strengths such as curiosity, humor, or empathy, they feel authentic, they feel energized, and this what transforms meaning into passion. But with rigid curriculum or accountability pressures, limits this expression. Meaningfulness stays an idea rather than experience. Ultimately, passion is not created by more rules and monitoring. It's sustained by environment that let teachers act on what they value. When schools foster autonomy, trust, and opportunity to use their strengths, teachers can live their purpose authentically. And that's what keeps great teachers and great classrooms alive. Thank you.
Thank you. More and more interesting research. And still with the Department of Public Administration and Management, we are inviting Ms. Mpate to come and present Social Innovation Towards Strengthening the Lesotho Democracy, an Alternative Approach to Sustainable Development. Okay, let's see which slide is up. Sorry, I think we caused the confusion. But still with public administration and management, I think Mitzet Mbewu, if that's the slide, we'll just go with, but your slide is finally up.
Okay.
Okay, so I think we'll just leave it as is. Apologies.
Let us look at a brief overview of the status quo regarding the sustainable development and democracy in Lesotho. Democracy, this is based on the literature review and the research findings. So democracy is an enabling mechanism to accomplish sustainable development. It's also a mechanism to achieve 17 sustainable development goals. However, Lesotho is the least developed country, and then it is poverty-stricken with a poverty headcount of 49.7% and 32.8% unemployment rate. And its democracy is also flawed, number 70 globally. The main challenge in Lesotho's democracy is limited community participation that is predominantly through voting during elections. Also, the top-down approach to decision-making, whereby the government plays a key role in decision-making, excluding the community. Despite several attempts to strengthen the Lesotho democracy that include the Lesotho 2030 Vision 2030, and also the democratic reforms that included reforming the electoral system, moving from first-past-the-post to mixed-member proportional, and also the external intervention, they have proven ineffective because the democratic challenges still persist. In this regard, social innovation is viewed as an alternative approach to strengthen the Lesotho democracy to accomplish full democracy, which is an alternative approach to achieve sustainable development in Lesotho. This is a framework that informs a strategy to strengthen the Lesotho democracy, which involves the role that social innovation plays in strengthening democracy. Social innovation is relevant to strengthen democracy because it creates social value that satisfies the societal need more effectively than the existing methods, as we've seen that the existing methods in the case of Lesotho have proven unsuccessful. It also increases the capacity of the community to participate. It also enhances community participation through all the stages of community participation, which is lacking in Lesotho. And this is the strategy, the recommendation for Lesotho, which involves the 3 phases. In the first phase, it involves defining full democracy, which entails defining the elements of democracy that need to be strengthened. And in the case of Lesotho, all the elements must be strengthened. And in the second phase, social innovation approaches must be identified that must be utilized to strengthen the democracy. And then they bring with them the novel solutions that contribute to strengthening democracy. And then in the third phase, involves identifying the social innovation actors, and then in the case of, that must utilize social innovation to strengthen democracy. And in the case of Lesotho, the identified role players include the democratic institutions, the NGOs, the academic institutions, and the civil society organizations that must implement the social innovation to strengthen democracy. Thank you.
Thank you. Still with Department of Public Administration and Management, Ms. Mbewu, for her presentation, Assessing Government Political Communication Strategies for Coordinated and Consistent Messaging in the in the Government of National Unity, GNU.
Good afternoon, everyone. The 2024 Coalition Government, which is now known as the Government of National Unity, comprises of 11 parties and is markedly different from the GNU in 1994, as it was formed out of a political necessity in the absence of a clear controlling majority. Comprising of various leaders with different ideas, beliefs, visions, and political manifestos. They represent the sharing of divergent ideas and practices that represent voters' wishes for improved governance. The study investigates whether there is a government communication policy, a strategy that will guide political parties in the GNU on how to speak in one voice through coordinated and consistent messaging. The central question is, what challenges does the GNU face in implementing political and government communication strategies that ensure coordination in their messaging? The study used a qualitative media content analysis. We looked at the newspaper articles from the time that the GNU was formed and analyzed how they reported about the GNU, specifically on how they addressed the public, or even specifically more about how they were able to connect with the public and what kind of strategies were they using. And we have found one of the key findings was that some of the political parties within the GNU were using political communication strategies to speak about their departmental achievements, and none of the messaging was coordinated. The absence of a government communication strategy has left the GNU in a place where there's divergent views, there's confusion, and has left the voters to decide whether this is a unified GNU. So the GNU is unable to communicate government messaging as a collective for purposes of displaying a unified government. To gain public trust, the key messaging of the 7th administration has become silent, overtaken by contradictions, public disagreements, diversions of views on public policy matters in the GNU. A balance needs to be struck and a link to be created to achieve political and government communication strategies for coherent and consistent messaging. One of the recommendations is that the strengthening of the government information system, which is the custodian of government communications, to enable the GNU to narrate good stories. Another recommendation is appointment of a leader at the GCIS, which is a custodian of government communications. The absence of this leader does not assist the GCIS because there's divergent of messaging, and up to date, there's still no leader in the GCIS. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we still have one more, our last presentation. So we go back to the Department of Economics and Finance. So is Ms. C. Phillips here? Ms. Phillips? Okay, please do come for your presentation. Mapping a deaf infodemic since the officialization of South African Sign Language.
Greetings to all. My name is Chidima Philip. I would like to start with a question. When you encounter a topic that you know little about, where does one first go to? The problem being addressed. South Africa is a country proudly known for its diversity and culture. The deaf community in South Africa upholds those qualities as it sees South African Sign Language as more than a means of communication, but a root of its culture. The South African deaf community is a marginalized community that faces communication barriers, which then leads to speculations and misconceptions to arise. Infodemiology is a science of measuring and tracking volume, spread, and impact of information, including harmful information, thus leading to an infodemic. The problem we are addressing is social exclusions and communication gaps involving the deaf community. This then leads to harmful infodemiology, or rather a deaf infodemic of inaccurate assumptions on social media using natural language processing. The way forward, our research is strongly quantitative in nature, using secondary data that is scraped from Twitter, currently known as X. Currently, we have a strong contextual background on the three aspects: the deaf community and its culture, infodemiology, and natural language processing, mainly focused on the sentiment analysis. We have also currently built a strong data analytical pipeline that then uses the data that we've scraped from Twitter to then interpret the social media discourse. However, we are currently awaiting ethical approval to continue these interpretations. Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm finally back. Climbing 2 steps, need vitality points. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of the students' presentations. But before we now close, I've been given the mandate to at least open the floor for at least 2 questions or comments before I call on Prof. Nene. But before we do that, I just want to share with you, so while you think about that question or the comment about research, the good thing is what the science people, I hope no science people here. Okay, so we are safe. So it's about a researcher experimenting on a frog. So a researcher is experimenting on a frog, and he says to the frog, jump. And so the frog jumps. How many legs does a frog have? Okay, for those of us who've seen frogs before. How many legs? 2 legs. Okay, 4. Okay, no. Ronald said 2. Okay, 4 legs. So he cuts off 1 leg, and he tells the frog to jump. So the frog with 3 legs jumps, and so he records, he's collecting what? What's he collecting? Data, observation. So he writes, the frog with 3 legs jumps. So he cuts off another leg, so now the frog has how many legs? 2 legs. So he tells the frog, jump. So the frog with 2 legs jumps. Difficult. So he records again, the frog with 2 legs jump. He cuts off 1 leg. Now the frog has how many legs? 1. He tells the frog, jump. The frog with great difficulty manages to jump with the 1 leg, and so he records, the frog with 1 leg jumps. So he cuts off the 1 leg, and he tells the frog, jump. Now the frog can't jump. He still doesn't jump. What is he supposed to write? And then he says, the frog with no legs is deaf. So, ladies and gentlemen, all that we have seen in our faculty is relevant research with definitely sound and appropriate findings. So we really want to applaud all our students. So please give all the students presenters a warm round of applause. For those were really great, relevant, and appropriate presentations. And for the first time, I understood everything in 3 minutes, and I've got so many questions, and so I will definitely be engaging with them at their posters outside. So are we ready for the questions? Are we ready with our questions and comments? We'll just take 2, and then Prof. Nene, you come and give the closing remarks. Or should I behave like we're in class, pick on someone? Okay, we've got 1 hand. The mic is coming to you soon. Okay.
Hello. I'm just a second-year student, honestly, but I found this session quite interesting. Now, I heard of all these research topics, and obviously, as a student, the ones that resonate with me, for example, the one to do with stress that students face in the midst of academics or off-campus residences. So what I want to understand is either to the faculty or the relevant departments, when there are such findings that could be relevant in the world to create and drive meaningful change, what mechanisms are put in place to make these things a practical, real-life application or even drive policy changes?
This is where the dean would say you should publish it. Shouldn't just end on the shelf in your parents' house, you know. Okay, any other comments to someone to answer? Professor Berger, that was a question for you.
I think, Katie, you summarized it. Publish it. Yes, so no, indeed. I mean, our research needs to be problem focused. So what is the problem that we want to solve? I think living in a country where we have not a shortage of questions, the way to go about it is to engage with the research question. Remember, research is a verb, so keep doing it and engage with real questions. And be critical when you look at the questions that you're researching.
Okay, thank you. And the last comment or question? Okay, we've got one hand. Professor Matebula, yes?
Thanks, Igna. And thank you and well done to all the students for their wonderful presentation. I was going to just, I guess, follow up on the question that was posed just now to ask if any of the students would like to reflect on ways that they think they could take the work forward, either to change policy or practice within the university or in the communities where they seek to see change. So I guess I'm taking the question forward and asking if any of the students who've presented would like to respond.
Okay, any students?
Please need to stand.
I'm not going to be a supervisor after this anymore.
Please stand.
Just respond. You can use it. The question was how you can use your research for real. How would you advise the government of national unity in devising a communication strategy? What have you found?
Sure, you are just putting me on the spot right now. I cannot believe this. Okay, I work in the field of communications. I think it's been for a good 10 years in government. And I knew already that when we had the GNU, I knew where the problem would be. For starters, you would not be able to have all the different political parties under one roof speaking one voice. For me, it's nearly impossible. And I knew for communications it would create a serious problem. Now you can see, even in the media space, when the DA opposes or actually, let's say, responds to the NHI or the Bella Act, you know, from a communications point of view, government communication is supposed to step in and diffuse those tensions. It's unable to do so. So, what I would say is, with the strategy that was developed in 1998, the first ComTask report that was tabled to investigate how government communications work, the work was easy because it was transitioning from an apartheid government into the new government, and it made it quite easy because the first thing that they wanted to achieve was to have a government that speaks in one voice. It's 30 years later into democracy now, the landscape has changed altogether. What they need to do is to go back to the drawing board, undo, I would advise, undo the government communications handbook. It's outdated. The last time it was developed was in 1998. It's irrelevant at this stage. First start there, craft in line with how the environment has changed, new strategies, a new communications plan for government. That would be my suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, because there was also a question about student residences, you know, I thought maybe I should just chip in and make some contribution to that.
Short and sweet.
With regards to my studies, just that I was against the clock and I wanted to highlight this recommendation to say, my aim is not to produce a PhD that is going to gather dust in the library, but I want to produce, you know, a study that is actually going to make a significant difference. Then in relation to my study, I'm also intending to organize community engagement programs that can actually bring students and residents together. Because one of the things that I also highlighted in my study is that there's actually a conflict between and tension between the residents and the students. And we have to conceptualize and develop, programs that can actually ensure that students and residents can actually stay together harmoniously. I'm gonna organize them in a hall like this, where we're gonna have students and residents, and allow them an opportunity to highlight some of their differences. But the intention of those workshops is to propose possible solutions that can actually mitigate some of the challenges of studentification that we're experiencing. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. The initial thought with my study was to make a meaningful impact in terms of a win-win situation. So for me, it was not only focusing on the students, but also focus on the business school as I'm employed under the faculty. And so with regards to the recommendations, one would like to have a societal impact in terms of the recommended orientation program, as well as the mentorship that is recommended there. But also to foster and sort of promote collaborations within the institution, because some of you would know that I'm action orientated, and before even I concluded my study, I had already spoken to Dr. Munita Dunn in terms of the director for the well-being counseling services at the institution, and she was amazed about the study, and she wants to collaborate. And of course, my supervisor paused me and said, you are too fast for this whole change and impact. And so we had to, this study also went to a conference, the SAMES conference. And so to answer your question, it does not end here. And so the impact, and I want to see it, I'm going to continue with the initiative of working and collaborating with student counseling services. It's no point in identifying all these recommendations and not putting action to it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, of a truth, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, just like we have said, here at EMS, we are conducting relevant research, sound and appropriate findings. So we actually applaud you, all our students, and also just to thank the supervisors as well for all the work that you have put in. So on that note, I will call on Prof. Nene to come and give us the closing remarks for today. And just a reminder that please, everyone, could you please drop your name tags so that at least you would still be have a name tag tomorrow. Thank you.
Good afternoon, colleagues. So me sitting here today looking at the students, I think two things came to mind. The only time we see students present is when they present in the department or they come to the faculty committee. And then it feels like we are grilling them to say, what is the research question you're asking? What is the problem? The contribution of the study is not well articulated. So I think today was an opportunity for us to move beyond the department and the faculty research and higher degrees committee, but also to see what the students have been doing. So, and when you think about the purpose of a research day, in my view, it's always to gather together the students and staff. Last year we had the staff present, but this year we decided to begin with the student because they form everything we do. They are our customers and our reasons for us being here. So I think it was really good to have watched the students really tell us exactly what to do, how to do it, and to also share their experiences. So on that note, I would like us to please put our hands together to give our students a warm round of applause. So students, thank you so much for your very insightful presentation. I think you've shown that the faculty is indeed made of excellence and curiosity. I'm borrowing from the dean. I had that, but I think he talked about curiosity, which I'm borrowing, and he said curiosity is the bedrock of research, and researchers need to stay curious. So I think today we've really taken some time to see exactly what to do and how to do it. But again, we also need to pause back and really say thank you to the supervisors, because without your guidance, without your support, without your critical feedback, I don't think we would have seen what we saw here today. So also a very warm round of applause to our supervisors today. So tomorrow is day 2 of the event, and I think if you've all had the chance to look at the program, if you haven't, please, on the tables, there is a QR code which you can scan to see the program. So please come tomorrow, come engage, come curious, and let's make this a wonderful event. There's a lot in store for tomorrow, and I hope that tomorrow is going to be even a bigger and a better day for everyone. Thank you so much.